Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Brunner. I am a PhD candidate at New York University's Institute for the Study of the Ancient World. My field of expertise is the history and archaeology of the Middle East during the late antique and early Islamic periods, roughly 500 to 900 CE. My core research skills include researching and reading historical texts and documents. The historical languages that I am most proficient in are Arabic, Syriac, and Greek. As well, since 2013, I have worked on archaeological survey and excavation projects as a field supervisor in Jordan, Lebanon, the Emirates, as well as Peru. In general, a few of my research interests include how past communities and polities negotiated boundaries in both real and imagined landscapes, relationships between settled and non-settled populations, and the formation of shared historical memories and their later reception. The research project that I'm completing at ANAMED is titled Melding Silver and Gold, a historical and archaeological study on the transformation of the Byzantine and Sasanian frontier into an early Islamic province. This project offers a new interdisciplinary study of northern Mesopotamia under early Islam, investigating the amalgamation of the Sasanian and Byzantine frontier into one discrete territory called Al Jazeera under Arab Muslim rule, merging the silver dracham and the gold numisma. The geographical extent of Al Jazeera spanned as far south as Tikrit in Iraq and as far north as the Taurus Mountains around the modern cities Diyarbakir and Malatya. For my project, however, I will focus primarily on the upper Khabur basin surrounding the city Nusaybin, the plateau of Tur Abdin, and the upper Tigris Valley, which roughly equates to the modern Turkish provinces of Mardin and Diyarbakir. So for my project, there are going to be three main parts. Part 1 refines the geographic and environmental context of Upper Mesopotamia at the end of the 6th century and beginning of the 7th century. Recently published seal impressions of the late Sasanian administration of Nusaybin provide new evidence to reevaluate the current linear narrative for continuity between Sasanian and Islamic Upper Mesopotamia. Another example are the letters written by the Catholicos Ishoyav of Adiabene when he was the Bishop of Nineveh. These letters were written during the decade leading up to the Arab conquest of northern Mesopotamia and have been barely studied. I've identified a few key letters written to the Archbishop of Nusaybin, negotiating the movement of food and relief supplies during a famine at that time, which is a rare window into how communities react to environmental crises. In addition, these letters provide a socio-ecological perspective to the Arab conquest. Part 2 then investigates the early formation of an Umayyad province of Al Jazeera, beginning with the Arab conquest of northern Mesopotamia in around 639 through the Umayyad Caliphate. This section scrutinizes the historiographical traditions surrounding the conquest of Upper Mesopotamia in Syriac, Arabic, and Greek literature. Previous scholarship has labeled these conquest traditions as either stemming from a Syrian school or an Iraqi school of history writing. However, I've been able to identify a local Mesopotamian network of intellectuals from which our surviving historical traditions derive. In addition, this section details the process of how these former borderlands were integrated into the Caliphate. Here I bring together incidental textual references, numismatics, and documentary sources. And it is during this time that the memory of the frontier endured and was used by local Mesopotamians as a mental framework to understand the rapidly changing geopolitics. Then we go to part 3, which turns to the relationship between power and place in northern Mesopotamia during early Islam. The dramatic flight of the former Roman and Persian political elite following the Arab conquest created a vacuum, allowing local familial, economic, and religious elite to expand their spheres of influence. Because of this, innovative systems of patronage and practices of authority were developed between these local elite and new Arab Muslim authorities. This section will inspect the archaeological record for early Islamic northern Mesopotamia, focusing on multiple types of human habitation, such as urban and rural settlements, individual agricultural estates, military forts, and monasteries. From the beginning of the 8th century, we see an increase in the number of settlements from archaeological surveys, as well as an intense investment by members of the Umayyad royal family into local agricultural projects. At the same time, competing networks of monasteries along the former Byzantine and Sasanian frontier began to increase their efforts to acquire new properties in both rural and urban settings. And so, after over 2 decades, the most recent study on northern Mesopotamia during the early Islamic period is still Chase Robinson's book entitled Empire and Elites After the Muslim Conquest, which was published in the year 2000. In his book, Robinson has claimed that, quote, a history of these settled communities of early Islamic northern Mesopotamia cannot be written, and that writing a history of northern Mesopotamia is essentially writing almost out of nothing. And so to this day, there is yet to be a proper study of northern Mesopotamia during the 7th to 9th centuries that really challenges these claims and broadens our current knowledge. And so it is during my time at ANAMED, I hope to accomplish this upon completing my project there. Thank you all so much.